Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike and this is Triple T Acres, and we've got a little project we got to get done today. Let me get the camera turned around and show you what we're going to be doing. All right guys, this is the project we're going to be doing today. We are going to make another firewood basket made out of pallets. You've seen the IBC totes and those things are great. However, not everybody has access to them. Everybody has access to pallets. There are stores and places that receive shipments all around the country. Be happy to get rid of these things. So this is super cheap, super practical, and man, I'm so glad I started making them. If you have a tractor with pallet forks or a skid steer with pallet forks, this might be something you want to make yourself. Let me show you what the other project we're going to be doing today. All right, here's the other thing that I've got to get accomplished sooner than later. I've got to move this pile of wood. It's an old locust tree that fell down at my neighbor's house he gave me. A lot of these things are way too big for me to put on my log splitter. I cannot pick them up, and it's not practical to use my tractor to pick it up. So I'm going to move this pile on the other side of the logs that I've got to get split, and then we're going to make a little fire pit. We've got a fall party coming up, and I think it'd be great to have a nice fire pit to sit around and have hot dogs and marshmallows, and it's the perfect time of the year. I mean, it's fall time. I love fires. So stick around. You're gonna see me build one of those baskets, and we're gonna do a little tractor work moving this thing and building a fire ring. Here's one of the baskets I've got done too. It's full of firewood, and I've got it placed up underneath this porch to keep it out of the weather. And what's nice is I can come out here, grab some firewood, and then I carry it inside, and I'll show you my wood burner in my shop. Here's my wood burner. It is an old Fisher, and I was gracious enough to find this thing on Facebook Marketplace, and I paid 300 bucks. I have a barn that is uninsulated, and when it's 20 degrees out, I can still get it 55 degrees in this barn, and my barn is a 36 by 40. This heater right here with a box fan behind it, with a radiating pipe, will heat this whole shop. All right guys, I think I've got everything set up to get this project started. I've got 3 pallets, and the most important pallet of the 3 is the bottom pallet. That's the one that has to be the strongest. You're gonna get busted up, broken pallets from these places, and that's okay. Use those for the sides. Like some of these are broke off at the tip, no big deal, because all they're doing is they're gonna contain the firewood inside this basket. A couple other things I've got is some chicken wire and then just some scrap wood that I'm gonna use for bracing. I didn't wanna use a 4th pallet because the idea is to keep it as light as possible so I can put as much firewood in there as I can. I've got a 35 horse tractor and I gotta keep it under that lift capacity. So stick around. I am not doing a full instructional. This is not gonna be measurements. I do not make 2 baskets exactly the same. The whole idea is just to give you an idea. All right, what I'm doing here is the footage you just saw was me just nailing it to get this to hold up in place. I'm going to now just add a little bit of bracing right here. The important part of this is you do not want to get in the way of the hole that your pallet's forks go in. When you're making these baskets, you want the beams of the pallet to be running perpendicular to your forks, because when it's heavy, you do not want to go in on this way and lift up on each little individual board with your fork. Doing it this way allows your forks to go under the beams that will hold the whole basket. So just remember that, and when you're doing some of this brace work, you do not get in the way of where your forks go in. I'm just gonna mark a few of these, cut them with a miter saw, and just to give this a little bit more strength. Again, do not get in line of where your forks are going to go in. All right, we just added a little bit of bracing there. Now we're gonna get the strength of the basket to keep the sides from falling out. We're gonna add a bracket going across here and the bracket going across here. That really stiffens that up. All right, the next thing I do is you could use any type of wood. I got a 1x here, and I'm gonna run a board across the top here. I'm gonna nail it, and then I'm gonna cut off the tail there. And what that does is when I get this chicken wire up, it gives me something I can staple to. So you'll see that here in just a second. Now this side. Then you just unroll it. All right, now we're going to cut all the excess chicken wire off. I got these little snips. You could use just about any wire cutters. It cuts pretty easy. A little time consuming, so we'll put this on time lapse. All right, now we're on the front of the basket, and what we're going to do is we're going to take what we cut off the top portion of that chicken wire. We are going to put it across here to contain the firewood inside the basket. So we're not wasting any of the chicken wire. But what I did notice, just like I said before, not two baskets are built the same. I realized I think I should put a board that runs straight down here to give me something to staple across the front and to contain some of that firewood. So we're gonna get the board cut and then put the chicken wire across the front, and then I think this thing is gonna be complete. All right, we got the board on the front and the rest of the chicken wire going across the front. As you can see, I did it a little bit lower. That way you can reach into the basket when you're getting down to the bottom of the firewood. It'd be really difficult to bend over and get down into that. All right, there you have it, guys. A firewood basket made out of 3 free pallets and just some scrap wood that I had laying around from previous projects. Speaking of projects, let's get this thing moved over where the other baskets are and get that other project I gotta get done for the day. All right, we got that pile out of here. Man, I tell you, I love watching time-lapse videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing the tractor using the grapple and moving the pile over here. So I don't know if you noticed during the time-lapse, I kind of separated these big logs from the smaller ones so I can handle this stuff, cut them down, and burn them. These I'll probably have to take a maul to, or I might end up taking out in the woods and letting them rot somewhere. They're just too big to handle. We're gonna put a fire pit, I think right here. This looks like the flattest spot out of the whole area, and I've got some leftover landscaping stone that I'm gonna make a big circle just to give it a border for it. Stick around, let's get that over here. All right, here's the leftover landscaping stone. Looks like something somebody had to use to make a retaining wall or a flower bed or something like that. So I'm gonna repurpose it. I knew someday I'd be able to use these things, so I'm gonna move these over there and start to make a fire ring with it. All right, what a day. I got everything I wanted done and accomplished. We got the fire pit done. We've got the pile moved over there, separated with wood I can actually cut up and the stuff that's too big to mess with. And if we come over here, we've got the firewood basket done. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 baskets, and I actually have another one on the porch of the barn ready for firewood for this season. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys in the next video.